right, guys, this is Mike here. Mike's one of my friends here. We're going to take a walkthrough of his DIY build out for his 4Runner. And Mike's had quite a journey. I might have had some influence on it.
Significant.
You want to tell you a little bit about your story? Like we'll talk about this vehicle first.
All right, it's a 2011 Toyota 4Runner SR5, and bought it through the auction. Got a great deal on it, and you started telling me about overlanding and all that was entailed in doing that, and I said, I'm never spending $4,000 on an effing tent. It's retarded.
Effing tent, right? And we went to the Northwest Overland Rally last year.
We did.
We were in. I was in our van for the first time. We didn't really have the Tacoma built out yet, and you started to get a taste of things. And I told you before, I gave you the advice that I should have given myself. Like, hey, live in it for a bit before you start doing things. And I didn't do that either. I didn't follow that advice, and it's probably cost me a couple $1,000s. And
our friend Bear actually warned me. He's like, dude, this is a rabbit hole.
It is a rabbit hole.
Once you go in, then you're going to need this, and then you're going to need that, and then you're going to be this. And I'm like, I'll never need all of that stuff. I just need a place to sleep. And, well, okay, maybe I'll build a drawer system so I can store stuff.
Hey, Sean, what do you think about me building my own bumpers? Have you done that before? No. What do you think about me buying an aluminum welder and start doing my own aluminum in the drawer, right? Mm-hmm. And Mike's a jack of all trade type guy.
I am.
We kind of like we always bounce off each other on ideas and concepts and stuff, and so it's been kind of fun watching the journey. It's been humbling for me, or it's been humorous for me, not humbling, humorous for me because of what you said originally.
Oh, that I'd never go to this level.
Till all of a sudden now, here you are, and man, I got to tell you, this thing looks good.
Thank you very much.
It does look good. You should be proud of this thing. We're not going to go in order of the build out. We're just going to talk through your build out.
Okay.
And then we'll start talking at the end, like what he might do differently.
Sure.
Because there are a couple things already that you want to do differently. Before we do that, hey, if you enjoy this stuff, you like getting out adventuring, like just seeing people being real, consider liking and subscribing. We make adventure videos every week. We just do it for fun. We like to share our stories. Mike's out with us sometimes. We're going to be out I guess we're going to be out this week. I forgot what weekend we're going to be out, but apparently this weekend we're going out. And we like to share our stuff and share our stories and kind of share our why. And if it inspires you to kind of get outside, awesome. All right, let's start with the front here. Talk about your bumper.
So this was the first of the front and rear. I elected to do the front bumper first because it was cheaper, and I thought, well, if I totally screw it up, then it's not that expensive.
And you bought a pre-cut, pre-designed kit. Do you remember who that was from?
It's Coastal Off-Road.
Coastal Off-Road.
The C and the O here.
Steel bumper.
It was less than $1,000.
Yeah, which is a good deal.
It is.
Yeah.
Powder coating was only like $275, which I thought was ridiculously cheap. I'm not a welder. I've learned I'm a grinder.
He's really good at grinding.
I'm really, really good at grinding.
And if you're welding, you're laughing right now.
You know what I mean.
You're laughing right now.
So, I was able to get it all put together. The kit, you can add the little square lights when you order the kit.
Yeah.
I think it was like $40 extra for the lights or whatever.
Basically a cutout, or do the lights come with it?
The $40 extra were for the lights themselves.
Gotcha.
The cutouts are just there.
The cuts were already there.
And then the little blinkers. These little guys are kind of cool. Mm-hmm. They're small, but they're bright, which is neat. Comes with the holes for your little...
Yeah, your shackles.
Your
metal shackles, yeah.
And then we've got the... I put a Smitty-built 9.5K winch in here.
Synthetic line.
So the kit itself allows for it's all bolt ready. Just drop it in there and put it together. One thing that I did add that the kit did not have were these little blockers. Behind here is some sort of reservoir.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if somebody kicks up a rock or does something that's not really good, so I just added some steel
like
here.
A deflector.
Yeah.
And then you use what I did on mine, the trim pieces.
Yeah.
found on Amazon. It's just molding trim.
Yep.
And it worked well, and I know you used it somewhere else. So winch, now we have the GMRS Midland radio, which both Mike and I roll with too, and that. And then you have, let's talk about the front here before we go to the side. So
Okay.
roof rack, what do we have here?
It's a Victory Off-Road roof rack. It's full length.
And this was one of your first things,
Yeah,
wasn't
the
it?
tent was first.
Tent. And then they told you,
They didn't want me to leave with the factory rack.
So he went to iCamper, which is a local company for us, local-ish. I mean,
Ish,
you
yeah.
know, a couple hours away. And they were like, wait a second, no.
Yeah, they're like, you don't have a rack. We can't let you leave with this.
So you're like, promise them you bought the Victron.
Victory,
Victory,
4x4.
sorry. And it's been really good rack, right? It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it certainly works.
And then you had the Diodynamics light.
Yep.
And was your visor already cut out, or did you cut it out yourself?
So I bought it again with the assumption that I would not be spending anywhere near as much money as you have. I got.
And you haven't, by the way.
Oh, I know that. But the rack I ordered with just the deflector.
Yeah, so you did what I did and cut, and then.
Well, no, and then I thought I should really get a light bar. So then I ordered.
Oh, you ordered their flares.
Yeah.
And then you have on top, you did your own recovery boards up there.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Gifted by you.
Well, you did some work for me. It wasn't really a gift. Fair trade. I was like, hey, you did a little bit of aluminum welding for me. I'm like, thanks, bud. Here you go. And then you have a recovery shovel up there.
Yep.
And you found a way to make that all work. Yep. Yeah, and then anything special under the hood here?
Yeah, a lot, actually.
What you got?
So this is the factory battery location.
Yep.
It still has my primary battery. I fabricated a new battery tray, or a second battery tray, and then I had to fab a new mount for the power steering fluid off of that.
Gotcha.
Because that's the only thing I had to move, and it works great. Everything's dialed in there.
And you got your aux beam switcher over here.
Aux beam switch.
Same as I'm running.
Yep. And then, so the auxiliary battery powers a 5,000 watt power inverter.
Yep.
So I've got 2 gauge wire going from this aux back to the power inverter.
Gotcha.
So that I can make pancakes and waffles and toast and Keurig coffee and whatever else.
He does it too. I tell you, the last trip we went out, I'll try to pin that trip in the comments here. I felt bad because I usually go out and cook, and Mike's just out in the middle cooking everywhere. He's just rolling everything out, but he enjoyed it. Don's like, geez, did you do anything? I was like, I tried. Mike just kept on wanting to do it all. So yeah, he's got a sweet setup. He's like tailgate ready, rolls and ready to cook some prime things here.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the tent. This is the iCamper Sky.
It's the Sky Camp Mini 2. Yeah.
Because there's a 3.0 now.
There is.
Do you know what? I can't remember what the difference is on the 3.0. Do you have
the 3.0 has a little bit more room, so it's not as tight if you want to keep a sleeping bag and pillow in there.
Got you some more cover room.
And they also changed the way the little standoff things come out.
And then you do have the annex.
I do.
Which we determined iCamper's good company because Mike happened to he bought the wrong annex.
I bought the non-mini annex.
And they were thankful. He explained the situation
in November.
Like
a Black Friday special in November. And then our last trip out at the Hoe, I set it up for the first time. Like, oh, this is going to be great.
And I'm looking at it going, that doesn't look right. We couldn't quite figure out what was there. So it wasn't quite working right. But thankfully,
their customer service is
amazing.
Amazing. And they're like, yeah, send it in. We'll send you out a new one. No problem.
Yeah, it was really good. So iCamper, if you watch this video, good job, man. That's awesome stuff.
Thank you.
Big shout out to you guys. Let's talk about, before we go to the back, let's talk about suspension. So you went to Mule, the same place I did.
Mule in Issaquah.
Old Man Emu, standard
3-inch.
Yeah, standard setup is what you put on there. And that's very similar to what I have for my rig. In fact, that's why he went and worked with them. And if you don't know, if you're in the Northwest, Mule is one of the outfitters here. You can kind of tell them what you're doing, like what your plan is. And
yeah, they asked me how much weight I was going to be hauling around.
And then they factor that in. They kind of build your kit. Same thing for me. And that's kind of stuff I don't want to mess around with, gross vehicle weight and make sure everything's, I want that done as good as possible. Like the professionals tell me what to do.
And I'll say about the Old Man Emu lift, just going over speed bumps, which used to be ka-kung,
yeah,
it's like really, really super soft.
Yeah, I noticed for mine, once I got the canopy, because I had mine done first, before the canopy camper was put on, and it was basically all springs. Could never get to the shocks. I didn't have enough weight yet. So once I got the weight in there, I was like, oh, here we go. Now we're riding. So yeah, really good.
Yeah, they're very soft.
Wheels.
I
gave you a hard time because before, and these look way better, right?
Sure.
So you had these tires originally, and then you bought offset wheels.
Yeah, these are the
265s?
Yes.
Like 32s, technically.
Ish. Yeah. Yep.
And they look like, a 6'8" guy with size 9 feet originally.
With the factory wheels.
Yeah, and I was like, Mike, man, we got to fix that. And so what did you do? You did an offset, right?
These are the Rockstar 3s, the KMC Rockstar 3s. And they've got a -12 offset.
-12.
Which is, in my mind, I thought I wanted maybe a little bit more. But I talked to somebody that had a much wider offset, and he's always complaining about the
mud
yeah,
clinging on it. Yeah, that makes sense.
So this is still tucked in enough where the car stays a little cleaner.
Now, the one thing that we're still talking about, and this goes out to you guys, if you know something, comment below. So there's a couple things I know Mike needs. Kind of needs once. You probably don't need anything. Need is...
Do I really need any of this?
Rock sliders, right?
Yeah.
Now, you would prefer to make your own.
I'd like the process, yeah.
So if anyone knows of a kit that's pre-built that he could buy the cut parts and then assemble, awesome. Or even, if you don't know that, if you know an assembly instructions, tube, that come out, comment below. Like, we're interested in ideas like this because we've been talking through this, right?
Yep.
And then you got your spotlights here.
Yeah, just little 6-inch side lights. The ones in the front have amber.
Yeah.
They've got an amber row and then the white row on top.
These like just like a rigid light, but they're like, Harbor Freight, worked.
Just for, around the campsite, whatever.
And then we didn't talk about up here. This is your water.
Yeah, so that's
shower, right? You pressurize. That's one of your first things you bought.
Yep, it is. It's a water port. It stores 8 gallons of water. It bakes in the sun and gets really, really hot.
Yeah, perfect for showers.
And you put up to 40 pounds of air pressure. So you just take your air compressor, pump it up, and it'll shoot for a good time and at a good pressure too. And
then in here, which I haven't filmed yet, so I'll have to film this, you have a water tank in your floor space behind your seat here. And how many gallons is that again?
The one on the floorboard is 10 gallons.
10 gallons, and does it spread the hump, right? The hump in there.
It's got the little hump.
Folds into that hump. And he'll talk about that around the back, because this is body cleansing.
Or if you need high pressure hoses, if it
dishes.
Yeah.
And the other one is for around the back. So let's head around the back.
All right.
Okay, I will admit, when Mike took on this bumper project, this one, I don't know why this one got me more nervous than the front.
It was more expensive.
Tires swing out. The same company.
It's also Coastal Off-Road.
And I think we should say is that the instructions aren't crystal clear.
English was not their native tongue.
Yeah, and so you did have to reach out several times and say, just for clarification.
I did, and they're very quick to respond via email. I could say, hey, man, this doesn't make sense. It's basically black and white carbon copy photos of what to do, but it wasn't detailed at all. Every review I've looked at for Coastal Off-Road
same thing
says the same thing.
Maybe you should design their documentation for them, Joe.
Perhaps.
But it's a beautiful bumper. I mean, it functions well. Great swing out. You then added. Is this from the same as the?
Yeah, this is another Victory 4x4 ladder.
And you really got this for the, like. Did you have this vision, or?
I did.
So and then he's using.
I'm not going to climb up the ladder to get on top. I just needed more places to put stuff, hang stuff.
So Expedition Essential, it's their 11-pound propane tank.
13.2 it says.
Yeah, well, I think it's technically 11 pounds.
Oh,
so.
okay.
But it has to be a certain model too. So I use this one too on my van, on my truck. It's simple, quick, and this is for fire cooking?
This is the fire pit.
Fire pit cooking. All right. And we did show his fire pit video and another one, his custom fire pit. I'll put that in here right now. All right, gang. Mikey and I are about ready to get some lunch on, but first, Mike's got his new fire pit out. Now, Mike's built a lot of his stuff. I'm going to do a tour of his rig later here, being a different video. So you have to subscribe and like if you want to see that. But Mike made this fire pit, so let's talk you through this.
Okay, it's eighth inch thick aluminum. I used my old fire pit that was bigger than I really wanted to have. I used the guts, so I got the burner and the valve and the stem down here. I added a quick disconnect just to make it stupid simple.
Let's put it here. How's it go together here?
Okay,
put it
so
right here.
I made it so that it was about the size of a shoebox. These little panels come out like so. Flip her upside down. And pop that in there.
Left. Your other left.
Which is my right, because it's from, you know, if I'm looking at the...
Just giving you a hard time.
Jackass! I already have some design improvements in my head.
A little thing there.
I just haven't implemented it yet. So that's it. Hook up.
That's pretty cool.
Hook up the propane with the little quick disconnector, like so.
And off we go. And Bob is your uncle.
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob. All right. So let's go ahead and open it up here. So guys, I think this is one of the coolest things here.
Oh, here's something.
Oh, what is this?
I had to relocate my
backup camera.
Yeah. So I had some aluminum sitting around, and I popped it out. I had to reverse it because it normally fits the other way underneath here.
Yep.
So I had to reverse that and then put it back on the mount and then mount it here. So that's.
And Bob is your uncle.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. But I'm going to move the camera around here just so we can get a better angle of the side, because most of the action happens right here.
Okay. So one of the first things to mention about this lifting up, replacing the struts. Just the ladder by itself, the factory struts had a really hard time holding the tailgate up.
And so what size are these? What, 80s, 90s?
I think the guy said 400. 400 pound.
Per strut?
I think per.
Wow.
I think so.
I mean, my Max Trax ones are 90 per. So
they were stout.
Yeah, those are real stout. And so here's the other thing that I've been trying to convince Mike of, and since we're here, this would be a good one. I think he needs a 270 awning. And if you'll see in one video, man, he's been out in the middle of everywhere and it's just pouring down rain. And the only cover he has is right here. And you'll see. Now his concern is, rightfully so, his concern is the back of his iCamper. How can he have clearance and swing out and still make this? So if anyone knows of something like, hey, here's a 270 awning for you in the brackets, comment those below too. Because that's the one thing I think, if you found the right solution, you would eventually say.
I probably would need one.
Need. Let's talk through the cooler here. This is a cool, ingenious thing. Like, I kept on going back, oh, you should get this,
Dometic
one and all that. And you could potentially still do that if in the future you did. But you're like, I'm just going to start simple. I'm going to do this tilt-out tray. You want to kind of show how it works?
Yeah. So this is a Grizzly cooler. I looked at what are those other ones? The ones everybody
Yetis.
Yetis.
Yeah.
I looked at the specs between the Grizzly and the Yeti, and they're very comparable. This, I think, edged them a skosh, and they're real comparable in price. And the store had it in stock.
You're like,
so
that's
I
what you
needed
bought.
one. So yeah, just these standard drawer slides, brings it out, rocks down like so, and then pop it open. And this is what I like about the cooler versus the refrigerator, is I can store way more in here than you can in a refrigerator.
Yeah, and I see, are these standard or did you make these?
I made those.
So he made dividers. I just saw that these are aluminum sheets that you had, right?
Mm-hmm.
That now you could have section breaks. So that's smart, man. I told you, jack of all trades. And back here, that's tied back. It's basically got cable that has it tied to itself so that it can't tip past that. And he has 2 mounting points. I'm guessing that's probably 200 pounds each braided on easily.
Yeah.
So probably at least 400 pounds of tip for sure.
Yeah, it's just like 1/8 inch wire rope.
And then pops up.
And then you just push it back in.
And then in here, what do we have here?
What do we have here? This is storage for random stuff.
Yeah, nice deep drawer here.
We got this is the hose for the fire pit.
Yep.
Nice lengthy one. Another hose.
We actually have a toaster in here. I mean,
yeah, I don't know what I'm going to use this hose for, but I've got it.
you know, we all know why we need this.
Lots of it.
Lots in the woods. Could eat up your tummy. Duct tape.
Gorilla duct tape, not just any.
Not
this
just
stuff, this is, highly recommend that. Water, because I'm doing my own water,
Yeah.
I can go to pretty much any faucet and refill both of those tanks.
Okay. And then,
This was another Sean idea.
I know. Sometimes Sean has good ideas.
Sometimes.
I mean-
I got some camp chairs in here too, and toaster.
Sometimes I have good ideas. So before we open up the drawer, I think it's be easier to show your faucet here.
Oh, water faucet. So the water tank that spans the floorboard behind
Yep.
the front seat, I've got a little 12-volt water pump that pumps back here, and a little switch because you don't want it on all the time.
Yep.
Driving down the road, you pop a leak or something.
Yep.
I wanted to have that control. So switch on,
Water on.
water on.
And when you see his cooking setup, you'll see how convenient this spot is for him as he goes, just because it's kind of right centrally located. So let's talk about the big drawer.
Okay.
And then I know there's a couple things that you found in this setup that you are going to redo just
Yeah.
because you're after using it, like, damn it,
Yep.
I thought this and this is what. So let's go to the big door here.
Okay.
All right. You start. So you have power here, USB.
Yeah, these are just regular old household outlets
Yeah.
with the 2 USB cables, because when you're camping, you might need to charge
Always.
anything.
ABC, always be charging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first drawer comes out like so. We've got a 2-burner stove here. These are little deflector thingies that like to pop off when you're going over
Yeah.
bumpy roads, as we just did. 2-burner stove. It's connected to that propane tank. That's just a little 5-pounder.
Yeah, so you can see Mike has Molly blank panels on both windows
Yep.
here where you can put whatever. So he has another
Victory 4x4 on those as
has a
well.
well. So he has another 5-gallon propane tank that services this area.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go.
And that's always connected, so I don't ever have to dick around with
How it
the
goes.
little, the little bottles
Yeah.
or anything. Just crank the valve on the top of that, and we're ready to cook.
Now I like this next little thing because you and I kind of collabed on this a
Yep.
little bit. So a drawer.
Have a little drawer where we keep all of our spices and utensils and whatnot.
And once again, Mike made all of this, right? So you're seeing this stuff. He actually put it together, welded it, envisioned it, put it all together.
Yeah.
So this is his sink. So I'm
Yeah.
going to close this drawer for him just so he has it.
This is an Amazon collapsible sink.
And so we were
Like
talking
15
through this, and I said, what would be cool, Mike, is if you had a way that you can mount it at different points based off how your camp setup is. And
Yeah.
it's just a little pinch clip, that you can kind of see, and to the side. And so I think you typically leave it here, don't you?
Here's an example of my horrible welding skills. It's
but it's great grinding
great.
skills. So you typically put it back
yeah.
here.
This is my default location for that.
really close to the sink.
Yep.
And Mike, I noticed when we were camping, like he already had the system down. So like he's boiling, like when we're eating, he puts water on to boil, which is going to be cleaning later on. So he just has this little cadence, and I was like, oh, I see why he's doing this, and I get it. So let's get to the big stuff here.
Okay, so then down here, we've got the Blackstone griddle.
Hell
I guess
yeah,
it's a
look
griddle.
at this thing. Like, this is amazing. Right. Now it has to sit off to the side to slide in, right?
Yeah.
And then, so we cooked on this the entire time. It was, that's right, the
The
little
grease
trap.
trap thingy fits underneath there. So.
And then you have another drawer right here.
Another drawer here where we keep all of our pots and pans and
Now,
disinfecting wipes.
what did you decide after this drawer and why?
So when we were cooking the first time on our maiden voyage of this setup,
Yep.
I learned that the heat coming out of the Blackstone heats this guy up significantly. It was getting really, really hot. So another thing that I realized is there's a lot of space that I could save if I took the 2-burner and put the 2-burner down here.
Yeah.
And then I'd have this entire area for storage.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you know, as probably most of you know, storage is a premium.
Storage is king.
Yeah.
Right. So your plan is to remount down low like this.
Yeah, and probably turn it around so that the cooking side is over where you're standing
Gotcha.
instead of here.
You're thinking just because you're more like
Right, you're closer to the water.
Well, and I noticed that too, is that with the cooler, like in theory, you could keep the cooler down and tilted
And come back around.
and then
yeah.
keep on coming around. Because I was noticing that, you know, it was either cooler was up or down, and not in between. So I think those are good like
Yep.
things to change around.
I won't mod this. I'll probably just build a new one.
So if anyone's looking to purchase this is going to go up. That was not planned, but seriously, if someone wants this, comment below. Maybe Mike will sell it to you.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a lot of hard work, and I mean, it's beautiful. Is there anything else that you would change in this setup right now? I mean, it seems to work really well for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that in hindsight, I would do differently. Because everything works. It's all very functional.
Yeah, I think it works really great for you, and for like how you do it, like you're usually a solo adventure sometimes with your daughter, and works really good for you. And it's well thought out. I mean, it's just everything works. Like you have everything that you've it's been a year. It's been almost a year.
Over a year since I started into this.
Yeah. What would you say for someone that was trying to potentially do this? Like, what kind of skills do they have to have if they were really going to do this? And be honest, like
to build your own stuff. Watch a lot of YouTube videos.
Yep.
And ask a lot of questions.
And know that if it's your first go, you're probably cheaper to buy it yourself because you probably have some waste. If like you are learning to weld, you already kind of knew to weld.
Ish.
Yeah.
You know, I welded in high school, and that was 33 years ago.
You welded before that. You were welding other projects, but ish. Yeah. I would say Mike was more of a occasional welder, where I'm not. I'm like no welding. I mean, I've welded before, but not like for me. I would
built anything
via welding. Yeah,
okay.
I took welding class, and I did build some stuff there, but it wasn't like this, right? But I mean. You are, and you know a lot about electrical and low voltage because you used to do that. So Mike had used to work when you were in high school, worked for a
car stereo.
So he had all that foundational stuff.
And speaking of car stereos, this is something Sean probably doesn't even know.
Hey, if you're going to play music, I can't do it on YouTube here.
This quarter panel, the quarter panel is a void. You know, you take all the plastic off, it's a big void. So I fiberglassed in an enclosure.
That's right. Mike knows fiberglass work too.
So I could have, I've got a 10-inch subwoofer mounted that takes up literally no room.
Yeah.
So I can have great music and a kitchen.
Yeah, it's a good setup. Mike, I don't tell Mike this often, but I'm proud of him for this.
Thank you.
He's done a great job. Mike's a dear friend. He's helped me on my build too, and I've helped him, and it's been really fun. It really has been fun, and I think it's awesome. So if you think of anything else for Mike, or you're like, man, I'll buy that from you if you want to redo that, comment below, right? Seriously, I mean, maybe you do want to sell it. He's like, I don't know. Everything has a price tag, right?
The process of building it is just as fun as using it.
Yeah.
It's a good wintertime project for sure.
You definitely enjoyed it. He's thinking about selling it after the summer trips, right? 'Cause we're summer.
Yeah, I don't have time.
Yeah.
To redo it.
So next up on this channel, apparently Mike and I are going to Wainuchi this weekend.
It's on the calendar, so it has to happen.
Yeah, I guess it was. I thought it was like in. I guess it was further. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought it was
You didn't know it was this week. You're like, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, aren't we going?
I thought it was in June, but apparently I'm wrong. So we're going to the Wainuchi, and obviously that'll follow this video from that, and we're going to do a little bit of the inland. I think we're going to head to Shelton area the first night because we're going to leave right after work and try to find some space, and then the next day we're going to get up and then head up the mountain to Wainuchi and spend one good night up there before we come down. We're going to come down on the west side, so we'll come down on 101 on the other side. If you know that, that's down by Quinault area, and so we'll circle back around, basically circle the Olympic Mountains, which is kind of fun to do. So
That'll be fun.
Till next time, gangs, I hope Mike and I see you on the trail.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.